You're watching the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, a mailbag for you guys on today's show, answering all of your questions live, / giving some love to some of the previous super thanks that have come in. First up from Matt M. Jarrett Patterson, Notre Dame. I think a guard is a must. Who do you think should take and what round? I got Patterson some point on day 3. I don't love the interior offensive guard class. Skronsky's not going to be there for you, most likely. So Osiris Torrance, Steve Avila, Cody Mock, maybe on the second round. Those names start to make some sense. I don't think Avila gets to you in round 2. If he does, I'm sprinting to the podium. Could be like your worst-case fallback round 1 option. Osiris Torrance in that round 1 category, too. If you want a good guard, kind of got to take one a little bit earlier, I think, this year. Jeremy Chugs' burner. If a guy like Joey Porter Jr. or JSN slides 26, do you take him? He's like too good of a prospect to let walk in case of a CD scenario. Yeah, if one of those guys are there, I'm doing it. I'll take Jaxon Smith-Njigba, and then I'll move on from Cooks next year, and I've got 4 good receivers, and that way, in case Mel Gallup actually is broken, I'm not scrambling again next year. If JPJ is there, cool, I'm taking him, and I'll move on from the draft to the next draft of Gilmore and Joseph and Wright, and I'll have JPJ as my other corner with Trayvon Diggs. If one of those guys are there, yes, I would take him, especially JPJ. You're seeing some super thanks here. It's a feature on YouTube. In the past, you could only donate in a live video. Now, you can donate outside of live videos. And just like we do for super chats, we'll answer your super thanks question as well. Click the thanks icon. We appreciate your support here. Every super thanks is a shout out on the Cowboys Report. William Meehan, what are the chances we draft a DT in the first or second round? Better since you took care of your glaring needs at wide receiver 2 and at cornerback. It sets you up. If you want to, you can take a DT. Now, are they going to overlook the size issues for a Kalijah Kancey? Is Brian Brzee a good enough player for them right now in round 1? Mozzie Smith, does someone fall to the second round? Siaka Ika, something along those lines. So, better now that they have added a defensive tackle. Cowboy 85, this one came in before Isaac Suyamalo signed, so cross him off the list. Dalton Reisner replacement there. Also signed Bobby Wagner. I would have some interest in looking at the wide receiver or the offensive line market, etc. Linebacker market. If it's cheap enough, Cowboys have about $10 million in cap space here. All right, so what team has won free agency so far? Yes, we can include the trades involved there. What team has won free agency so far? Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's show, especially the ad break comes here on YouTube. Here's the TKG Troll one. How about we draft a kicker in the first round? You draft a kicker in the first round, your organization should be fired into the sun, banned forever. Rashard Lee, what about Jack Campbell out of Iowa? That's the Iowa linebacker, by the way, folks. Not in round 1. Round 2, round 3, if he gets to you somehow, I would have some interest there. The player comp athletically is actually Leighton Vander Esch. I think it's a pretty decent comp for his play style overall as well. Surprisingly great athletic tester. Really big player, too. Decent linebacker class. I wouldn't be opposed to taking one again, although I kind of want to see what Damone Clark and Cox out can do for you. Leroy Pearson, what is it with cap space-wise? As of Monday, you're at about $10 million. There's some flexibility, wiggle room, adjustment stuff mixed in there. It's different numbers on different sites because something gets calculated a little bit differently with incentives, whatever. So around $10 million plus you'll get $10 million after June 1st from Zeke Elliott as well. From Serial Killer, is Kelvin Joseph in roster trouble? Yes. Yes, he is. Trayvon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland. I would say Israel Mukuamu are roster locks, knowing that, Mukuamu is a corner safety hybrid these days. Leaves Jordan Lewis, Deshaun Wright, Kelvin Joseph, and I assume C.J. Goodwin back on special teams. So that means all of a sudden you're kind of hovering with not all those guys are going to make the roster. Somebody at that point is going to have to be cut. And given what I consider to be some frustration from the Cowboys organization as it relates to Kelvin Joseph and just the everything about him, yeah, Boss Man Fat's in trouble. Will he make the roster? Y for yes, N for no. sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. Final 53, he's in trouble. Marcus Arnold, trade Dak for Lamar. Tell me why not? So, ignoring the money, because the money is why not. You can't make it happen. You can't be paying Dak a bunch of money and then pay Lamar $50 million guaranteed, whatever he ends up wanting there. The issue with Dak has been you haven't won enough in the playoffs. You've done everything else. You're over for the course of your career. The numbers have been top 10. The wins have been at top 10. The playoff wins are actually still top 10, but they're lacking in terms of these results that we want. So the issue I run into is you have another great quarterback in Lamar Jackson, who I love, who also doesn't have playoff success and has injury problems. Well, that sounds very familiar. Maybe it's 6 versus a 7, whatever scale we want to use, but MVP for Lamar helps a couple years ago, but the issues are actually still the issues that you've had in recent years. Today's show is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day. Get comprehensive and convenient daily nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I gave AG1 a try because I wanted better gut health and a supplement that actually tastes great. I take AG1 in the morning, and it makes me feel prepared to take on my day. Once I got baby Olivia set up with her breakfast, I make my own AG1. And I don't feel the need for caffeine in the morning anymore. And I feel energized throughout the day. Plus, AG1 empowers the gut for whole body health. Covering my nutritional basis today literally couldn't be any easier. That's why I trust Athletic Greens. I mix 1 small scoop of AG1 with water, drink it first thing each morning, done just like that. And I like that it costs less than $3 a day. It's a pretty good deal if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients. It's the old win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/chatsports. That's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Ragnarok Howell, round 1, take O-line. Round 2, tight end. Take a running back. This sound good? If the right guys are there, yes. What you will run into is not setting yourself up of, well, all the linemen are gone, or all the tight ends in round 2 are gone, and now you're reaching for a position. So, in a bubble, sure, but it has to have the right guys there for you. Zach, starting on 9. Chad Ryland, round 1, signed to a 6-year, $200 million. Is that the Maryland kicker? EMU kicker? That's one of the kickers for him. So the answer's no, but I appreciate the troll there, Zach Store. Well done. All right, next up, Alicia Melendez. Signed Bobby Wagner, trade for a good old lineman. What are your thoughts on that? I'm down to sign Bobby Wagner. I know the cost to come down for the Cowboys to do it, but longer he goes, maybe there's a chance still. As for trading for an offensive lineman, who are you going to get that's available? It's a good idea, but, I mean, look what Connor McGovern got. He was not that good. He got $7 million a year or something like that. So, trading for a lineman, I like the idea. I don't know who that is, though, in the end. Now, if you love the Cowboys, make sure you're subscribed. We'll be live when big news happens. We'll be live for the NFL Draft some, too. Do not miss out on anything Cowboys related here on the Cowboys Report. YouTube.com/@CowboysTV. From Gangsta Big Chungus, thoughts on how Mike McCarthy's play calling will go? Don't know. Hopeful is maybe my one word for it. I think you will see less hitches, but the terminology is staying the same. It's not going to be a drastic departure for the offense. I think some of the philosophy stuff will change. I think your hitches are gone, and slant flats is the new go-to play call there, which is also prone to interceptions because corners can sit on it. That's a bit dangerous there. So I hope I will trade a couple points per game from the highs if it's a little bit more consistent, especially in the playoffs, it's a very tough bar. We're talking like, hey, you have to be a top 4 team. That's a high bar to clear. But that's where we're at for the Dallas Cowboys. Cam Kramer. Why do people call him Cooks cooked and claim we didn't get OBJ or Diop when Cooks is the youngest of the 3? If our concern is Cooks is washed, but we're saying Odell Beckham's not. I don't really get what we're going for. Different metrics. I think maybe they wanted OBJ. They wanted Hopkins, and they're mad they didn't get him. I do not think Brandon Cooks is cooked. I think he might cook some teams, though, this year. Banned for life. Well, who is your dream round 1 target? I don't know anymore. Before the Stephon Gilmore trade, it was Joey Porter Jr. But now you don't need a corner. I don't think he's going to be there, but I would love Peter Skoronski. I don't think he gets out of the top 16. But if he's there, I'm all for it. That's probably an unrealistic dream, but you did say dream. I think you're in a position where there will be players on the board, and because you're filling your needs, we're not going to be as in shambles as maybe we were when they didn't get the corner that they desperately wanted, or the other guard they desperately wanted and had to settle for Tyler Smith, which worked out great both times. Cowboys do a good job in round 1. So who do you want the Cowboys to take in this year's NFL draft? Any player, can go any round if you want. Sound off for me in the comments section. P-Money, if Darnell Washington is available at 26, should we take him? I wouldn't be mad at it. Tell you that one. You're getting an impact tight end who's a really gifted football player. It was freak size, great blocker. I am higher on him than most. 26 for a tight end in general is pushing it, but I would be excited. I mean, that's a blocking red zone nightmare. Leroy Pearson Jr., round 1, Osiris Torrance. Round 2, Sam Laporta. So it's the Florida guard, Iowa tight end. So you mean A.T. Perry, wide receiver from Wake Forest. Texas defense tackle, Moro Ojomo. I think I pronounced that correctly. Dorian Williams, linebacker from Tulane. Muhammad Ibrahim out of Minnesota, the running back. And is it Muhammad Diabate? I think it's the Virginia edge. Let me double check that. Let me check here. It's Muhammad Diabate out of, or is that the Utah? That might be the Utah edge, who began his career at Florida. That's who we're talking about, right? I think that's who we're talking about. Not Virginia, Utah. I might go running back a bit earlier. Ibrahim himself, injury problems. You don't know if you need A.T. Perry, but in general, you're drafting some damn good football players. If that's your draft class haul, I would give that at least a B+, if not an A. Shard Lee. Tom, what's your offense? What would your offense look like? If I were in charge of calling games, I would run a Mickey Mouse offense. I would run read options. I'd run inside zones. I'd run some outside zones. I'd run 4 verts, the occasional slant, some strong flood, mix in some play action. I would run a Mickey Mouse offense. It's also my NCAA 14 offense, which I'm really good at because I had no life. But I would be a terrible NFL offensive coordinator because I would not have the creativity, flexibility to get off of my 10 plays. Sergeant E76, who would you sign next year that aren't one of our own? Next year, sign next. I would look at, see what the money looks like. I'm fine at this point to look at the money and have that be a factor. I would look at Poona Ford. I would look at Dalton Reisner. I would look at Bobby Wagner, see if I can't get 1, maybe 2 of those players and really go BPM draft. Plus, I'm also going to bring back Hankins, and I draft an edge, frankly. Chris B., sign a DT and an O lineman and draft Robinson. I'm in. I have said it before, and I will say it again. If the Cowboys address all of their needs in free agency, at least in the short term, I would have more interest in drafting a running back in round 1. And it would appear that is what we're trending towards. Now, I still don't think Bijan gets to you, but if he's there, he's going to be the number 1 player on my board.